I should have scrapped out the Leviathan, but like I say, it was my personal ship, and I loved it. Like I said, that was the one that had all the gold, and they spared no expense on. I believe. I mean, I own them all. I own the Titanic and the Olympic and the Leviathan, especially after the air. Well, once the craft market came out, a lot of people were flying by air. I mean, some people were still going by cruise ship, but a lot of people sold out and wanted to invest in air travel or whatever, or wanted to get air travel, thinking that that was the newest thing. And we were producing aircraft like crazy, and plus there's the war and everything else like that. But I had the whole fleet basically. They're all LS built. That's what the Belfast shipyard was doing, was churning out ships like crazy. I'm pretty sure anyway. Like I get all confused with the whole details of it. But the L is for Lucifer, and E. Anyway though, they're all my ships basically. I mean, just like I own the aircraft companies, and everyone was. Basically I was subsidizing the aircraft companies with my shipping fleet. So, and subsidizing the fuel, although it wasn't all that much, but we couldn't really carry massive amounts of people by aircraft. The ships were still the only real way to cross the ocean in mass. So, if people wanted to cross the ocean, but a lot of people were finally able to travel long distances by going by ship because, you can carry a lot more people, that way, especially if you pack them in like cordwood, which they could do. So anyway, though, but that was one of my ships. It all stands for Lusifer Star. If you go back and look at the old logs, you'll find a lot of LS and LC and stuff like that. And it's basically Star, Lucifer Star. It all goes back. I named America, and they were my ships, my steam trains, my steamships, my mining equipment. I bought the market basically. And besides, like I said, eventually it came out, of course, that I was a creator. Or Lucifer Star was the name of the creator. Or at least someone really old. Like I said, you'll spend 1,000 years or 1,000,000 years, and you'll be finding out all this stuff and starting to understand like how it all worked. How the Chinese were such a big part in everything, and also the Irish, and how humanity was working together to create legacy and a dynasty. Of this great epic existence. Which is true. I mean, it's all very, very, very. I mean, you'll go 1,000,000,000,000,000,000 years, and eventually, as technology advances more and more and more, you'll see all the evidence and signs. Anyway, I'm pretty sure I ordered the Leviathan scrapped out eventually because it was a great big ship and it was rusted and old, and we were going with the newer stuff, which was more efficient. The hulls weren't all that efficient, and we could get more speed out of the newer designs. But anyway, though, whatever. It doesn't really matter anymore, and it's basically all in the past. But basically that's what the L stand for, was Lucifer. So anyway, just like the Lusitania, just like the and which eventually got converted over to an aircraft company, or at least they kept the aircraft part of it. Anyway, I don't really care anymore. It's like, whatever, I could be wrong about some facts. You have to do the splunking on your own to really go through and see the blueprints and plans. But they were all identical. The Lusitania, the Leviathan, the Titanic, and the Olympic, they're all basically the same basic ships, only they scaled it up and down, depending on what people wanted. So, with minor interior changes and stuff like that. But for the most part, they were pretty much the same ships, and basically only a couple But I mean, each country wanted their own ships, and so we produced them. We just made them basically in mass, pretty much. And then, like I say, there was the war, and I directed all my ships to basically start evacuating Europe, pretty much, to America, to move everyone to safety, because America was going to be our homeland, basically, because we couldn't really properly defend Europe. I mean, I love Europe, and Europe and Germany is like my home, basically. That's where it all came from. All the scientists, all the learning, all the great people. They came from Germany, and then because Germany was at a strategic disadvantage with where its location was, so we all moved to basically the United States and America, an unbuilt country pretty much that was just forest and land. Anyway, that gets all complicated and gets all confusing after a while, but you'll find the roots lie with that's basically how it went. And eventually we did have some ships that were there were some passenger liners that were nuclear, but nuclear was just too, it was dangerous. It was really dangerous. And so so after some catastrophic accidents and mistakes, it was deemed to not do it for anything but military use. And even then, really realistically, it was just too dangerous. I wasn't gonna, because it damages the steel forever. It also causes the problem to loss of life. And the Leviathan might have been a nuclear ship. I don't really know. That had an accident or something like that. I don't know. You have to go back and look at the history and logbooks. Like I said, that's why I had everyone writing down logbooks and taking pictures of everything, because I knew I would forget. I knew other people would forget. I knew it would get confused. So that's why there's all these old photographs and pictures of every inch of the ship and everything in the ship, because I wanted it remembered, in the glory it was. Because I knew that eventually people would be looking back at those times and going, what happened? What was going on? Who was doing what? And how was it being done? And it's like, I knew back then, I was like, people are going to want to remember this. So that's why we took all those photographs and pictures and everything else like that and tried to keep them for as long as we could, because basically it's my legacy. And it's the legacy of America, it's the legacy of Germany, and it's the legacy of Ireland. And even China. We were all working together. And everyone would say that it was this great time of peace and prosperity and working together.